clip flashlight. Not really a 4-season tint, but it's doing okay. It was actually pretty dry inside. I was pretty amazed how dry it was with all that mesh. 4-season tent will have a capability to take a snow load. You can see this doesn't really have a midsection pole in it. It relies on the tautness of the pitch to shed snow. Again, I wanted to try it to see how it worked. It did pretty good. In the high elevations again, it's a beautiful morning. Blue sky, no rain, it's warm. Just waking up and it's time for another tent review. This one will be short because it's a small tent. Sierra Designs Clip Flashlight 2. There's my buddy Crockett 20 in the background, repairing his shoelaces. These are the specs on the tent, and this is these are of course factory specifications. Trail weight 3 pounds 6 ounces, pack size 19 by 5 inches, number of doors of course 1, 7 feet of vestibule area, that's this portion here. Yeah, that's nice to have too when it's raining, snowing. The material is 70 denier nylon on the floor with 3000 millimeter waterproofing, and Sierra Designs does such a good job with that waterproofing. That's a thick coating if you're not familiar. Also, I talk a lot about tent philosophy in my series of videos that I'll annotate up there. If you're watching this on a mobile phone, you'll have to go to a computer environment to see it. Link to it. And this is pretty amazing. This is another reason I love this tent. Interior area is 32 square feet for a 3 pound 6 ounce tent. Now my carry weight is more than that because I have a homemade tent bottom for it, footprint if you will, and I do the homemade ones and I prefer them over the factory produced Sierra Designs footprints because they're bigger. I get more vestibule coverage. I kind of extend it a little bit further out from the tent body. I know some guys say, well, you can't extend it out too far because then you'll get pulled rain. Well, I've come up into these conditions a lot and I've just never seen that. Usually, I'm not going past the vesti, by the way. This one's not exactly centered because we're on about 8 feet of snow camped out here. Let's talk about the Rainfly. You're looking at it right here. It is classified as a 3-season tent. For the last 2 trips, I've been putting it into a 4-season roll, and I did it again last night. In winter, since that camp out, we had heavy snowfall all night long, and it did okay. I wouldn't say it's outstanding because it doesn't have a snow center hoop, for one reason, and also to set up the Clip Flashlight 2, you have to pitch it very tautly. So you're going to run your bottom out. I didn't film this last night because we were just too tired. Run your tent body out, stake it really tightly, and then you put the, then your poles on there. Erect the tent, but it has to be staked out. It's not a self-supporting tent. I'm probably still dazed from getting up, so sorry if I'm not making sense. There's the back end of the fly, and as you can see, I recommend you stake that back end out like that to get ventilation coming up through there, and it worked pretty awesome last night too, Crockett, because that breeze was coming down the hill and it just pumped all the moisture out through that mesh in the tent body. And like I said in my tent series, that mesh is just required in my book. You just have to have it. If you have a solid nylon body, you're going to be feeling it in an enclosed tent environment. Now right here, it's touching the tent body a little bit. If I was here long term, like multiple days, I would have taken this stake out point and pulled that tent body like that. Now we're in business. Now I don't have any portion touching the tent body. There's not going to be any moisture, and it's going to ventilate even better. On the snowpack, this stake, I forget which brand this is. It's a DAC aluminum stake. You can see its design. Pulled out a little bit. I stomped some snow on most of them, and they held pretty good, but ideally, like you saw me do in winter scents, a snow stake would be better for this. We just weren't counting on camping on 8 feet of snow. Yeah. Kind of, sort of we were, but not really.
Yeah, we're thinking big patches. And
Yeah. They did pretty good. Over there is another upgraded stake. I have a mixture between the two. That's an Msr Y Stake, I think they call that, in anodized blue. Love it. Look at the adjustments on the clip flashlight, how awesome they are. Everything is just so high quality. This is Hypalon fabric, so rubberized nylon, so it won't rip, it doesn't absorb water. Heck, it doesn't even absorb dirt. This right here, you just pull to tighten your fly, do that, you know, pretty much right off the bat. But the thinking behind it, as it stretches out with precipitation, you have a way to tighten the fly up. This is that Kelty trip tease line. I showed it pretty good in the night, huh?
oh yeah, flashlight hit that and boom.
Yeah, you know where it's at. That is not factory, that's an addition by me. And also I added several stakes, and I just, with any factory tent, I pretty much just pitch the stakes and recycle them and upgrade. The reason I don't have all of the Msr Y stakes because it would add a few ounces to the loadout. So I did a mixture of these ones and those. The stitching, of course, just like all Sierra Designs tents, is just excellent. It is factory seam sealed. Let me pop this up and you can see that. There's factory seam sealing right there, so that means you don't have to fool around and do it yourself. And like you see, a nice thing about a tent is it protects you from stuff like that. Coming out and laying eggs in your brain. Did that happen in your setup last night?
No.
Stitching's excellent. The floor is not super heavy. You wouldn't want it to be in this philosophy of use. A very high speed, basically one-man tent. Two tent poles, they're joined together. They have plastic sections that clip to the tent body. It's really fast, high-speed setup. You will have to find a good level area for the clip flashlight too, however. I stomped this one out by foot. Just to kind of make it level. Apparently it worked because I slept pretty good in it last night. Here's the interior. Not exactly a huge amount of room, but remember, it's a 3-pound, 6-ounce tent from the factory, more or less. This is my Talus 2 down bag, 20 degree. I got double pads. Thermarest on top, GI closed cell foam on the bottom. And yes, I packed up a Qualifill pillow. So nice to have. Some gear hanging loops right there. 2 gear pockets. One on the left, one on the right. Very handy to have. And again, you can see the quality and attention to detail there. Those are seam sealed and reinforced. All the tie out points. You're basically getting your money's worth with a Sierra Designs tent. And guys who own them know exactly what I'm talking about. This is something I did not do. There's a tie attachment to the pole. Again, if you're looking at high winds, stormy conditions, it'd probably be a good idea to affix that. And so what it does is really ties the tent body and the fly together. The peak height is a huge plus for the clip design as well. So you can actually sit up inside the tent, do your gear sorting, clothes changing, and yet it's still very lightweight. Basically, I'm telling you, this is a very difficult tent to beat in terms of design and room for the amount of pack weight that you'll carry up, which is reasonable. It's a winner. Probably a single person tent, maybe single person, perhaps plus dog could fit in there. I haven't done that yet, like I was saying. Decent vestibule area. It's not, you know, huge, but that's what you got. It's a great place to dry out your stuff, or at least get the drying process started. It's a huge win. Oh yeah, see all that mesh in there? It's pretty much a mesh body. Here's the door. Clip flashlight's been around a long time too. I just want this review in my outdoor gear review inventory because it is such a win in terms of design and weight. There you go. So completely mesh around the circumference of the body. Like I said in other reviews, REI brands and stuff, I absolutely love it because that just ventilates the tent so well. Pushes out all that moisture. Might be a little bit cooler inside, but if you have a, you know, a good sleeping setup, you won't mind it unless it gets really cold. I still prefer it though, to stay drier. By the way, DAC branded aluminum poles. I think they're recycled or something, so they call them green. Super high quality. I haven't seen any break in my Sierra Designs tents. There you have it. At about 9,500 feet elevation. That is a Sierra Designs Clip Flashlight 2 review by Nutnfancy. Totally worth the money. And I think it's actually fairly affordable too, Crockett. I'll annotate the going price right there on the screen. It's not a super expensive tent.
Yeah, that's interesting to me.
For the price you're paying, super high value, this tent. That's Nutnfancy. Crockett 20 signing off from the high elevations. Looking at a long hike out. See you guys. Snow still continuing to fall heavily. That's just in a few minutes. It is coming down. Sure learned a gear lesson or two while they were out here.